team, I was nearly late then. I was busy in my shed looking for some stuff for today's stream, but yeah, and then I walked in and it was 3:59, so that was pretty exciting, but no, thankfully we weren't late. Anyway, okay, so I will get started because it is 4 o'clock, and today what we're going to do is work on some gloves. So this is a pattern that I use for pretty much any glove, so it's pretty versatile. You don't have to be using it for this sort of character, but it's something that has served me quite well in the past, and it's very, very straightforward. So basically what you want to do is you want to pick out the fabric that you're using. So for this one we are using a pair of leggings, and we're essentially using them for the design. So I know I told a few people that I wasn't gonna do this week because I wasn't happy with these leggings and I was waiting on a new pair, but I think it's really, like, I was looking at crow feet a little bit more, and I think they could work, and I have them here, so we might as well use them. So with these leggings I ended up sizing up 2 sizes, because for the legs what I wanted is to have them so that they can be turned into tights essentially, but there's still a bit of extra length. But today we're not doing that, and really we're just harvesting them for fabric. So the really good thing about leggings or tights, whichever way you want to do this, is that they're stretchy. So basically these ones have a 4-way stretch, so that basically means that they will stretch in 2 directions. So if you've got something that's a 2-way stretch, it'll only stretch either left and right or up and down, depending on which way you're holding it, but a 4-way means that you get the stretch left and right and up and down. So yeah. So for these sorts of, for this technique for gloves and socks and things like that, it really pays to get a 4-way stretch. It will save you a lot of heartache, and it will be a lot easier, because we're essentially going to make a glove that doesn't have any form of gusset, which is basically when you look at a glove, the section that sort of gives your fingers room to move, and if it's a non-stretchy fabric you really need those gussets. So yeah, alright. So for those of you that were hanging out since the beginning, I did talk about card and using card for foam templating, but I also use it for a bit of sewing as well. So the really wonderful thing about this pattern is that you just need your own hand, and we draw around it. So I will, let's draw around my left hand because I am right-handed. That could have been a bit of fun, hey. So you basically want to put your hand down and make it so that your fingers have got some space in between them, and then we're going to draw around that. I want to leave a little bit of a seam allowance, so that's why I'm not drawing really close to the fingers. Hey, how you going? So basically if you draw directly where your finger is, you will not have enough room for your fingers, because your fingers are tubes, they're not flat, they're 3D things. So and it's always good to sort of over exaggerate this, because you can always streamline them a bit more. Okay, and it's really important that you have a bit of extra space here, because the wrist can be a little tricky. Okay, so that is essentially our pattern. My hand. Hey Erin, how are you going? Okay, so I do have some scissors around here somewhere. So these are some really terrible paper scissors. They don't actually even close in the middle, so let's see how far we get, because I misplaced my scissors. Oh, they're not terrible, so that's good. I've got slightly bigger space on the webcam this week. Zoomed out a little bit, so hopefully I won't go quite off camera as much as I did last week. How's everyone's weekends going? Has anybody been up to anything exciting? I've mainly been playing Final Fantasy because I'm obsessed. And I'm very close to the end. Oh, chocolate pudding! That sounds amazing. Is it like chocolate pudding from scratch or like instant pudding? I only ever imagined instant pudding myself. I'm not a very good cook. Oh, that sounds amazing. That is impressive. So, we now have... Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Mob Psycho 100's really good. It's a really, really good one. I haven't finished it. We got about halfway through, but we were really enjoying it. I might even be controversial enough to say that I liked it more than One Punch. Just saying. But no, but that's cool. I haven't watched Interspecies Reviewers yet. I've been meaning to, but I have not. And I think the thing with Mob Psycho is that it just is I don't know, like the story is just, there's a lot, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of other things happening rather than just lots of big boss fights, but then there's boss fights as well, so I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. All the different emotions and things like that, it's cool. But no, but it's also cool hearing people working on cosplay because I'm a big fan of that. So we have a glove now, which is very exciting, and all we do is we get back our leggings. So last week we were working on the furry top, which ends about where this t-shirt ends, a bit longer actually, it ends on my elbow. That's probably it actually, yeah. And it's really nice because obviously Saitama's already the strongest, so like it's just about all of the fun sort of crazy stuff that happens and all those random situations that happen around him. So yeah, I think we might, let's see how we're going to do this, because we might do these backwards, because I had hoped to do it that way, but I've made the template quite large, and it's really important not to stretch the fabric to the template, because that'll make it warp. But we could always add in a thumb as a separate piece. To do that, you'd just sort of like cut your pattern here, and then you draw this twice without a, I'll show you, because I have some scrap pieces. Can we do it on here? Oh yeah, maybe. So this one is a little different, and then you just sort of go like this, and so this seam wouldn't exist, and you just cut out this piece that looks a bit strange, and then that would be your thumb. Yeah, so the leggings that I picked were just snake pattern or python patterned, I can't remember exactly, because the looking at crow feet, they're not completely smooth, so I wanted something that had a bit of texture, but I really wanted one that was sort of the big fat design all the way around, instead of having the thick and the sort of the fat and the smaller, and it's like a crepe, but it's quite subtle, so that's quite good. Yeah, well, that's just because it's the template, and I always make things too big and then resize them, so resize them a lot. So with these gloves, we had a couple of different options. Sometimes people will just cut a hole out of the leggings, sort of where the crotch is, and then you sort of wear it like a very 80s t-shirt. So then you sort of wear them like this underneath everything else, because why not? And then you make a head hole in here, but we're not going to do that because I want to be able to take the gloves off whilst wearing the costume, so that I can eat and drink and go to the toilet and things like that. So and the other good thing is, if the sort of the arms aren't too restricted, I can free my hands if I want to. Great. Oh, do they? I can like do these ones, and I needed to make a pointy finger, didn't I? But yeah. Alright, so let's give this a crack. I have two pairs of these, one for the arms and one for the legs, and I ordered them about a year ago, so they've just been sitting in my house waiting to go. Let's go slightly higher up, because like I said, we don't need the full arm. Because we are just making gloves. I do way too many things as trial and error, but that's okay. So we've turned them inside out. That's just because I'm going to start drawing all over things. Okay. They also sit a bit better this side round. So the other good thing is you can see sort of how much of the leg we're going to lose, and to streamline it all down. So is that. Let's just see if this is enough. Oh, plenty. That's like my whole arm. Okay, we can go back a little bit. Does anyone else have any glove making tips? They honestly are my bane of my existence. I don't like making gloves. Though saying that, I did get a really nice, I think it's a simplicity pattern, glove pattern, and it's really good. Okay, so I have picked up a black pen to draw on black. That's fabulous, isn't it? Oh well. Let's see if my purple pen comes out. Oh yeah. So sometimes I won't use such a coloured pen because I'm concerned about the pen bleeding onto other things. But for this one, I'm not worried, because we are going to probably wash the gloves before we wear them once we finish drawing them all. So the only disappointing thing about this way of making them is that you do get a thumb seam, which you can get rid of by doing the separate thumb, but that's sort of up to you how you want to go. This is just a quick and easy way of doing it. And because, like anything, I like to hand sew everything that I do, we're going to be hand sewing again. Alright, what can I see? Oh yeah, I can see it. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's a little subtle. So we're actually going to follow this around. Now I know sometimes people do body paint and they don't want to have to worry about body painting their whole body, so this technique is really good for that, especially if you found a pair of tights or leggings that are the exact skin tone of your character. I know there's lots of debates out there about, oh, you should body paint your whole body, but really, who wants to fret about unsealed body paint all day? Like, so tights just much easier, way easier to travel with. You can spend all that time it's like, I guess if there's a situation where there's the scene, like you'd end up with a scene that's not in a nice place, then fair, but I think if it's something that you could pull off, it's quite good. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's sort of like, it can take so long. Like, if you think it take, like, some of my costumes take 2 to 3 hours to get ready and they don't contain any body paint. Now if you want to add body paint on top of that, you've now got to do like another 3 hours. Like, it's, and that's if you're doing it on your own. Like, obviously if you've got friends that can help you, that's wonderful. But I really don't want to get up 6 to 7 hours before the con. For a photo shoot maybe. And that's probably the oh, bless them. They are beautiful humans to do your body paint. But I think that's the thing, like, there's things you do for photo shoots that make everything look really nice, and then, but for a con, as long as you're not competing, sometimes it's nice to have these little cheap cheat options. Obviously in this case we're using it because these are quite textured tights, so it's sort of giving that bird effect. These are so thick. I ordered them from England, so they are going to be very warm, but that's okay. But with these ones we're going to do a cool trick where we might not have time today to show it, but because I'll need to run this through the machine, and I'm not going to use the machine on camera because it's quite bulky and it would just be this very awful sound of my sewing machine going over and over. But I did go out yesterday. I went to the fabric shop because I am restarting a project that has a very specific deadline and I couldn't get the fabric I needed off their website, and I was baffled by how busy everywhere was, and there was a lot of people that didn't have a loyalty card, so they were clearly learning to sew for the first time, which is good and bad. I'm happy that lots of people are sewing. It's nice to hear that people are taking up the hobby. Did mean the shop was busy, that annoyed me though. I was like, I just want to be in and out, and I can't get to the section of the shop I want to get to, but that's okay. We got there. And now I don't need to go anywhere for a while, so that's good. So we will probably only do one hand on the stream, and then I'll add this other hand to the pile of all the things I need to do for this costume. Oh yeah. I was like, I don't know that I'm going to fit all my fingers, but really the thumb is the biggest one. Like, it is the one that takes up the most space because it's obviously at an angle. That's the way we drew it. You can draw them closer together, it's just, I don't know, whenever I've done it like that it's always gone wrong, so call me superstitious. okay. I can't see where I need to go next, but that's why we have a template. I should have brought my foam pencil down, but I decided to not, but that's okay. Oh, I have gone a little... Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Oh, it's there, that's the problem. Okay, that's okay. That's why I do this by hand. Easier to fix. Oh, I see it now. Yep. Okay. I haven't missed a finger, but it doesn't... Oh, he's there. He is there. Cool. Good. Make this easier for yourself, guys. Pick a pen that you can see. But it's another thing that shows you that you can really get fabric from anywhere. So some people are like, oh, you know, you've got to... We're very lucky here because we do have some big fabric stores that we can go visit and go touch the fabric, and normally you can find stuff, but you know, sometimes you can't. And I know when I started out, I didn't actually know where to buy fabric from. And so a lot of my early costumes were made from sort of buying dresses and taking them apart and things like that, and you know, it worked. Just because I don't do that so much anymore isn't because it's bad, it's just that I have less free time these days, so I go in, buy the fabric I need, and yeah, go from there. And I don't have the same amount of time to like trawl through clothes. Oh, that's why I've gone too high. It's here. Oh, right there. I swear I do it like this so you know that actually when these people come out with these really beautiful outfits that they seem to just make overnight, that it isn't always an instant process. I do have a couple of costumes that I made in a 48-hour binge, and people are like, wow, That's so fast. And I'm like, it is fast, but I also made a lot of mistakes on the way. And they're normally things that are just lots of clothing modifications, so it helps streamline that process. Alright. Home stretch, we've now just got the little finger to go. And the good thing about this is you can always make something smaller. So if we put this on and we find, oh, you know, the fingers are all not fitted in the slightest, then that's okay. You just streamline it. Oh, I see, that's why you're there. I'm just going to redraw this one in because I'll probably regret it later, but that's okay. It's only myself I need to be angry with. Okay. So I know Milk and Threads was mentioning that they were working on a cosplay. How's that progress going? Ooh. So she says that she's up to the embroidery on the cape, which is really wonderful because I do love a good embroidery project. Very therapeutic, I think. Okay, so the exciting news is we actually have got pretty much almost all the way around just before my thread ran out, so that's good. So let's try. Ah, that's good. It's always good to support people doing Let's Plays. Okay, so doesn't feel too bad. So it might be a little tight, but we'll find out when we turn it around the right way, especially on, yeah, might make that a bit longer. That's okay, but these are good because basically when you turn the glove the correct way round, you will have a seam, and so that'll be bulkier. Like that's going to make your fingers essentially slightly bulky, so you've got to sort of allow for that. But overall, I might just quite a long fingernail on my little finger, and I think that's what's making it a bit pokey. So we will make that slightly bigger, but otherwise that's pretty good. I also really like watching Let's Plays when I'm making game characters because I sort of, even if I've already played it, it's nice to sort of rewatch it again and remind yourself why you enjoy it. So for this, like I said, the pinky finger is a little tight, so yeah, I have apparently. It is though, like I knocked the other one off. But yeah, so anyway, segue. If you are doing this and you find that you have one of the fingers is a little bit too short, you just go in, essentially do a couple of stitches where you want to keep it, and then do the circle again, and then add on the extra little bit. So you can do this as many times as you need. If you end up putting them on and they're super loose, you could take the time now to sort of fix that. But yeah, when you do flip them around, they do tighten up a little bit, so that's just something to bear in mind. Awesome. So then we do the same this side and sort of catch that last stitch, and then we can unpick those ones. Because I've extended this though, I'm going to extend the hand a bit further. You can do all of this on a machine with pins. There's no reason not to. I just quite like it because it sits flat. But I know that it's not the most efficient way. But yeah, if you like, you could use this technique for gloves, whether they are just little gloves, longer gloves, really long gloves, but it's really important to remember that the wrist is quite skinny, and then obviously the hand is quite large, so you need to make sure that you have a way that you can get your hand in even if it's super fitted. Some people might put a zip in or a fastening, or you can sort of do a trick where you make the glove in two parts. Like, it's yeah, find what works for you. I know with my plug suit, Oscar's plug suit from Ava, I use this technique, and she's actually got gloves that end here, and then she has, and they sort of, I think they actually end here, and then there's like the little button thing that they press to make it fit, and then that's a piece of cardboard that goes around, and then the sleeve ends underneath. And it was really nice because then I didn't sort of have to try and make a really long glove and then worry about trying to get it on. So yeah, sometimes it's just a case of looking at what your costume, like where you can hide seams, and then no one needs, like, one, it saves you a lot of time, because if you've hidden it, then people don't have to see it, and you don't, unless you're doing competitive, you don't have to worry what it looks like. Okay, let's go back the other way. Actually, let's not cut that off, because that's no need to do that, because if we do turn it around, because it's only a single stitch, it will be a little wibbly. The internet's not as busy this week, because last week we cut out around now, so if I lose you guys, I'll still be here. And I have also worked out how to save the stream until after, so if you've got things to do, that's totally cool. So yeah, this is just me doing a running stitch that fills in the stitches that went round initially. We could do a back stitch, that is definitely a stitch that we can do, and then you essentially do this all in one go. I quite often get told by people, why am I not doing a back stitch? But it's, I don't know, this feels fast. To me, this is how I've done it for a while, and I guess it's sort of a reminder that if it works, then it can't be so bad. I think one of the sad things about how popular cosplay has become is that there's lots of things out there that says, oh no, you have to do it this way or you have to use this product, but really it's a craft, so whatever works for you. This is definitely not going to be a summer costume. Gosh, I can feel how warm it is already. Another way, because I'm a really big fan of like talking about different ways to make things, because as I've said, like there isn't a right, like there's the only wrong way is if it makes you like if it's unsafe to you. That's the only time it's ever wrong. If you're going to hurt yourself by doing it, then it's not, that's definitely not right. But like I said, I have less time to search for things and I'm quite happy with making gloves now, so this technique worked for me. But if gloves were new for you, you could definitely buy some black opera gloves. They call them opera gloves, that's the length of them I believe, from eBay, and then when they arrive you could just wear them as is. That's totally fine. You could just have them in the plain colour that they come in, that's fine. Or you could use a fabric paint to draw on any details, or if foam is your jam, you could get some 2mm foam and cut some little bits out for the hands. Foam is sadly not my super strong area. I try and do a bit of foam with each new project because it is definitely an area that fascinates me and I want to become better at, but it definitely didn't come naturally. Oh, I think you guys can see my dog. There she goes. Yeah, she's heading out apparently. She was hanging out. Is she coming back? She's probably gonna bark at the neighbours. That's probably what she's gonna do. It's about the time that the neighbourhood dogs will start barking, so we might have that. That's okay though. Oh no, she's just gate crashing. she's now in this corner. Obviously wanted a bit of a cold floor. Is there anyone watching out there that has pets of their own that they love and get in the way of their cosplay making? Because I am obstructed from leaving this room now, which is fine. Worth it. Try these on again, hey. Also, you don't have to leave them in as one piece. If you are using, because these are arms, obviously. For the legs, we would keep them in one piece because we want them to be leggings when we finish. But if it's easier to, oh, that's much better on the fingernail that time. On my little finger. Okay. So that feels pretty good. It also feels pretty good on the arm. Not too tight, which is nice. Because the tricky thing is we don't want it too wrinkly when it's on. So this is fine because obviously there's going to be some movement. But yeah, too easy. Alright, well. We measured twice, so I guess it's time to cut. Let's see what scissors I've got. Because I did not bring any... Oh, I've got these ones. Let's see. These might be a bit big, but these are my pinking shears. And they're quite good because it means I don't have to overlock when I'm done. So let's see. But I don't think we're going to get the nice smooth cuts that I want, but that's okay. We'll also keep this because we might need it somewhere else. I'm not sure yet. A little bit of advertising there. Yes, I did get them from Boho. For those of you that recognise that label. Okay. Let's try with these scissors. I know they're horrible paper scissors, but I think we're going to get better. I was like, we're just doing foam today, so I just need terrible foam scissors. Forgot this part, but that's okay. So when you cut them, you literally just want to sort of, there's where the fingers separate, can you see that? And you just want to cut a straight line, just straight down, because you do want to leave a bit of seam so that when you turn it around it just sits a bit like it's not going to fray, because like the fingers and hands and gloves and things like that, they take a lot of stress because you're moving your hands a lot, and so yeah. You basically want a ½ centimetre seam allowance on these. I know we talked a lot more about seam allowance last week. And for some of the fabrics that are quite stiff, sometimes you've got to like do little cut in so that it basically, when you turn it around, you get a really nice smooth curve. We'll see how we go with this one. You don't always know until you turn it around. And the other thing about the fact that, as I said in the beginning, these are a stretch fabric, is if you have made them ever so slightly too small, they should forgive you. Okay. These terrible paper scissors ended up not being that bad at all. I think also with these ones, like I know we've got that center seam on the thumb, but we're probably going to do some sort of foam work on top of that, so it'll be hidden. Because I'm all about hiding bad seams. Especially when you're just doing cosplay for fun. Well, you should always be doing it for fun, but what I mean is when it's not getting judged. So yeah, it's probably this sort of one here where we've got that big curve between the thumb and your pointer finger. That'll be the one that needs a bit of extra to sort of, because it sort of is holding itself together, if that makes sense. So we just come in and we just do a couple of these. And they're just up to the seam line. You just sort of do these little lines, and then when you turn it around, it makes it a little bit easier. It's because I am lazy, so I always have a lot of cosplay crimes to hide. And that's the other thing, like if you do foam, like you've got a foam bracer or something like that, just line it with felt, and then everyone's like, oh, it's felt line, that must be so comfortable, and you're like, yes, it is comfortable, it's not hiding any of my terrible seams at all, because I wouldn't do those. Alright, so I'm not going to do a straight line off, because otherwise that will defeat the purpose of this. So we are going to, so we've got movement, that's what we have. Oh. So we have a glove. They might need a little bit more down here, we'll see. Basically we now turn that the right way round. So let's flip it around. Let's see how we go. If I've done goofed, that's okay. I have a whole, I think I ordered 3 pairs in the end, so I have a whole spare one. Okay. Oh, they do look cool. Okay. There's a very skinny wrist. We might get into trouble there. We will see. So when you're turning the fingers around the right way, you can do a couple of things. Sometimes people will poke them through with a pen. I generally just sort of do this weird wiggling motion until they come out the right way. Like I said, they've not, as you've watched, they've not been put through a machine, so the stitches will be quite loose. But it's more just to give you an idea of actually how easy. So yeah, this is where we're getting into a bit of trouble. So here you can see this is a very common mistake, which is very easy to fix. So you've got like bunching, And that's just happened because the fabric inside is like pulling on either side. So what you do with that is you just turn it round the right way, and then you do either those little dart like cutaways to sort of free that up, and that will loosen it straight away, or you need to just cut in a bit deeper. So yeah, I used to not do any of that, and then my sister got married and I made 50 meters of bunting, and I learned very quickly that you can't just turn them around the right way and hope that they'll be okay. So yeah, any project that you do, it doesn't have to be cosplay. As long as it's something crafty, you'll learn something new, and that's what I learned, and then it made my gloves better, so thank you for that project. I actually did really enjoy it. Okay, so we've turned these round the right way now, and we will, so as I said, you can obviously cut the leg off and measure it a bit more so that it's sort of in a better place. Oh, these are so stretchy. They are forgiving all of my bad patterning decisions. Okay, so look at that. We have a very funky looking raptor glove. So what these guys need is for me to come slightly further down on here, and on here, and then to do those little cutaways. But yes, we have a bird hand in an hour, so that's pretty cool. So that sort of shows you how quick it is, and it literally is your own hand. So yeah, I won't do too much more on those because it's just to sort of fuss and fit, but I will work on these afterwards, and I'll show you what they look like when we're done. So essentially you just got to do that twice. So the next thing to make bird hands is that they obviously have claws. So the claws I am not going to make on the stream because I found out that all the products I was going to use have actually dried out, and then the one that I could use I need gloves for, and I couldn't find them, and that's why I was nearly late, but that's okay. We're just going to talk about a couple of different products that you can use and why you should or shouldn't use certain ones. So yeah, so spoiler, this is my favorite, but you need to wear gloves when you use it, and it's, I don't know if it's popular. I do know some sort of famous cosplayers, if like they are famous, they do cosplay full time for a living, do have some videos on these, but I'll talk about those at the end, because the things that are all in fashion at the minute is foam clay. So I was really lucky, I do actually have the two different styles of foam modelling clay that is available in Australia. I know depending where you live they can be different, but sadly they've both dried out because I left them in my garage and they went and dried out, so yeah, we're not going to get very far with that, but I can show you what they look like when they dry. But the reason why I did actually want to make them out of foam clay is that they'll be really lightweight, and if I bump into someone I'm not going to hurt them because it is just really soft. Let's see if I can, yeah, it's a bit like I don't know if anyone's done any like Decora sets, but it's a bit like the 4-4 that comes with that, which is like a marshmallowy type, like it's very light, it's very durable, but that's one way. Yeah, I had hoped that there might be some in here that's, oh, that's a little bit. Alright, let's give it a go, because I think it must have just been the top. Oh, actually, yeah, you can add water to it, like, I think to make it last a bit longer you sort of put a bit of water in the container to stop it drying out. Oh, there is some, oh, this is exciting. Maybe I will be able to make them. Alright, so I honestly like both of the foam clays. It depends what I'm doing. This one I find dries faster, and this one takes longer to dry, but sort of sweats out any problems, if that makes sense. Like, it's sort of, as it's drying, the water sort of rises to the surface, so you sort of have to rotate it a bit more. But yeah, it also depends what sort of look you're going for. So water naturally would, this was my water. There we go. Alright, let's do this. So it's basically like any other modeling clay product. It is safe for your hands. A lot of people use it without gloves, and it's fine. And then we essentially just make a claw. But the thing with this one is it's quite cheap, and it's quite readily available, and modeling is another skill set that I'm not super great at, so sorry for all my sculptors on the stream. It's because I have too much and I want to make a little hook curve. Okay, here we go. Let's chuck that back on. So because I've added a bit of water to it, I have made it quite sticky, but that's okay. And the really good thing about it is once you seal it with whatever you want to seal it with, I still recommend Flex Bond, even though it's a little tricky. You've got to make sure it is fully dry before you do that. You can paint it any colour. Though if you really want to maintain this texture, you can absolutely buy this one. I know comes in a whole rainbow of colours. Make sure your work surface is clean so you don't pick up all the dust that I have just picked up. So it's just a case of sort of